Hello, and welcome back to Three Nerds Talk About Stuff.
Oh!
What's that noise?
The fuck? Did you just orgasm?
No, I was trying to make Beetle.
Oh!
Is that what Red hears every night? Jesus.
Okay, wait. Oh! Was
I
that
don't want to
better?
think about the kind of noises Beetle makes in that situation.
Anyway, last part we talked about Ultron and stuff.
I wanted to bring up something because I had to leave to go use the bathroom, and I had to go to the leasing office. I always forget how massive praying mantises are. They
I
are
remember
Yeah, they're
seeing
bigger than you think.
they're
they
scarily
are
big.
they are way too big for my comfort. I remember seeing one in a bathroom once and just like turning around and leaving.
I had one in my room, I just ignored it. Or did I kill it? No, I threw it out.
I would scream like a bitch and run away.
Hmm.
Because
Okay,
I cannot handle large insects at all.
for me it's just spiders. I either kill them or... Yeah.
I always murder spiders. If they're gonna invade my house, I'm gonna murder them.
Don't come into my room.
Well, your room isn't my house.
Yeah, but I have a lot of spiders in here. There's Jeremy, there's Fritz, Dave. Okay,
This is
I'm
the
back.
man you're dating.
Have you guys ever watched Terminator?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
So back to
And
my
that's the end of that
Well,
conversation.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
have you guys heard of Dead Meat, the YouTube channel?
No.
Yes.
It's a channel that does kill counts for horror movies, and sometimes like horror adjacent movies, like action movies, like Mortal Kombat. Um, the other day, Webb was asking me what my least favorite movie that I have personally seen that they've covered is, and I said it was like Terminator.
Oh, really?
Which is, to be fair, they've done like over 400 kill counts, and I've only seen like maybe 1% of them. But of the ones that I've seen, the Terminator is my least favorite. And he
Ugh,
was like
dude.
he was very surprised and disappointed until I explained that I do like the movie. I just like it the least out of what they covered. Then he was like, "Oh, okay."
Dude, like, the fucking. I've only discovered these movies recently, but Terrifier
Never
is
heard of
Mm.
them.
so
Never gonna watch it.
fucking.
You do you like stuff like the Terrifier? Do you actually like it?
No, dude,
Okay,
like,
never watch House of a Thousand Corpses.
look,
It's
okay,
the kind of
I'll be
horror movie that
specific.
it just makes you sad.
Well,
Yeah,
it's not.
no. If I want that, I just
Okay, look, like, bad acting, bad direction aside, like, I'm used to gore, but the gore in that movie is, like, so fucking. It made me wince. Like it's rare for a gory movie to just make me like cringe and look away. And like I just can't finish those movies because of that shit. Like it just goes so over the top and so gruesome that it just makes Saw look like fucking Pee-wee's Playhouse in comparison.
yeah, no, I don't
It's
watch
funny that you
that
say
kind
that
of movies.
because Webb, and his girlfriend have actually been like watching Saw very slowly. And the funniest part about it is that with like all the gore and stuff, I can handle it perfectly fine. But when it comes to medical stuff, it makes me sick.
The scene with the box full of needles that they have to go through.
No more details, please. No more details.
I won't go into any more details, but yeah,
Okay,
Neppy.
let's change the
I'm
topic.
so tempted, but I won't.
Okay,
No,
let's
no.
okay, on the topic of dead meat, if I had to pick a least favorite movie, I have watched a lot of like James's videos, and I have sung his praises before. He's like an insanely charismatic and funny like host. Like
I
he
want to specify not the least favorite video, least favorite movie that they have covered.
I'm trying to think. Um Least favorite horror movie. Okay, I have seen a lot.
I don't.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
because you're
obviously.
lame.
Hey, I
Well,
got into
come on,
Five
don't
Nights.
bully
I got into
him. It's
FNAF.
like if he doesn't like horror, he doesn't like horror. That's fine. It's just
I,
like I naturally have a very morbid like
Five
curiosity. That's
Nights.
why I get into horror a lot.
ironically enough, the only reason why I even got into FNAF was because of one of Man of the Internet's cover song
Dude
about
gave me
Afton.
100 rupees for a piece of flint.
God damn.
God, that's the economy, huh? Jeez. So
Oh,
okay, to get to my funny book again.
Final Destination 4. That's my answer. That movie sucks shit.
Okay.
James actually makes watching that movie bearable.
Which one?
Uh, Final Destination 4 or the
I
Final
love those
Destination.
kill counts so much.
Yeah. Uh, anyway, Neppy's fun book trivia power hour.
Yeah. Okay. What do you guys think is which game holds the record for the best reviewed scored? I guess the best scored game.
Singular
Like
game?
like
Uh,
highest rated singular game.
well, it says here in German, so I can't. I best. Yeah, best rated
Shit.
video game would be the translation. Yeah, I think
Best rated. Oh God. There is so many good games to get through. I can't think of which one would be like the top of the top.
it has a score of 99 on Metacritic.
99. God.
It's the fifth game in the series.
The fifth game. Don't tell me it's fucking Skyrim.
No,
Okay, I was about to say.
it has a remake on the 3DS.
Why is the headpiece 1,000?
I have no idea.
The fifth game in this series has a remake.
Resident
Is it
Evil?
Majora's Mask?
No,
Wait, the Majora's Mask or the Resident Evil?
no, neither of those two.
Shit.
Especially
Remake.
because Majora's Mask is the sixth game.
Ocarina of Time?
Yes,
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah, isn't it like a 98?
99
Yeah.
on
Damn.
Metacritic, and on second place is GTA 4 and Soul Calibur
Damn.
with 98.
Ocarina of Time is that highly rated?
It
Yeah.
was groundbreaking when it came out. To this
That is
day, many it's for many it is still the video game.
that
It
is
was like the Mario
surprising.
64 of Zelda.
That is surprising
Yeah,
to me.
like
I mean, I have played like Ocarina for a small bit of time and I did enjoy it. I did not think it was that highly regarded.
I would love to play Ocarina at some point.
it hasn't
I
aged very well. At least not the original 64
I
64
did
version.
want to play like Zelda games on my channel, like going back to the first one and just have
I'm
Neppy
definitely
tag
gonna play
along
the
with me.
first one. The first one is genuinely still fun.
Yeah,
I love the music in the first one a lot.
I gladly joined for all of them.
I remember when the NES emulator like first came out. I played the original Legend of Zelda, and I think like over halfway through the game. I never finished it, but it was really fun.
Fun fact: when that game first came out, the packaging came with like a full map of Hyrule.
Yeah, that's so
With
cool.
the, I
Yeah,
also
like
think I think part of the reason it was so Legend of Zelda was so insane too was because it was the first game to have a save system.
yeah, and like kids back in the '80s had to like use the map and like mark on it, and like figure out where they were, figure out where the dungeons were, and like
Dude,
when you're like a kid,
video game maps are so cool at any age.
when you're a kid back in the '80s and you have like this video game that's like an open world, groundbreaking, like you have to like use this map, you have to mark down your stuff, you have to figure out where you're going. I could see why they got very into it because it is like back then that would be like insane to play as a kid. Like you have this like open world video game that you have to like mark down and figure out where you're going. Like you sometimes you got to put yourself in the perspective of those kids and realize how this blew them away so much. Because
I
I think
have
that
a
was the same thing.
I have a map of Twilight Princess,
Oh, really?
and I think that thing is super cool.
I used to have a map of like GTA 5's map hanging on my bedroom wall when it first came out.
What do you
Sat
guys think is the highest ever sold, or better, auction oft game, Zelda game?
highest sold Zelda game?
Yeah, like this is an auction. Was an auction.
Oh, at an auction?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Ocarina of Time again.
No, it was an unplayed, unopened version of the original NES game. It sold for 870,000.
Oh. Oh, fun fact, I actually do have like a physical cartridge of the first Legend of Zelda game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was like sitting in like my aunt's foyer,
I am
and
a genius.
she like let me have it. She's like, "Hey, if it means something to you, you can have it because I'm not using it." And I was like, "Cool." But yeah. I unfortunately still don't have a system to play it on, but I would love
Yeah.
to play that legitimately.
Ah, what do you think is the most present video game character?
The most present video game character?
Yeah, the most.
Hey Yuri, you can just pop online and buy an NES for like $100.
Uh, yeah, I could. I just never like.
The the
I just
the
never
cheap
have
the
have the.
cheapest I'm seeing is from DK Oldies, which is like $80 for just the system and like no
Yeah,
controllers.
but honestly, why should I waste money for an NES when I can just play it on the Switch online?
Well,
Or an emulator.
well,
Yeah.
people like to have the physicality of it, you know.
Not with such old games, no.
Well,
But yeah, the most
well,
present video game character is
Oh,
Mario.
I have a question for you two, actually.
Yeah.
what's up?
What is your opinion on emulating a new console? Like Switch emulators.
Mm, depends. Like, if you live in a country where Nintendo products just aren't as present, then I say, yeah, basically have no other choice anyway. If Nintendo won't sell their stuff in your country, what do you gonna do?
I feel like it just depends on your financial situation most of the time.
Yeah, like,
If you
if you have
can't,
the money, pay for it. If you don't have the money, I don't mind if you emulate.
because you have to consider that a Nintendo Switch is like $300, like a new one, and each game is like $60. So that's like at least $360 you're paying for one console and a singular game. I considered buying the Hyrule Warriors duology, and I realized that buying just those two games would cost me $130.
Jeez.
And I'm like, God damn, how do people afford games these days? It's just like, and that's my main argument for emulation. Like, sometimes people just can't afford it, but they still want to
Yeah,
play the
like,
game. So
video
that
game
they just
development has become so expensive that the games have to become more expensive to get the costs back in. So yeah.
yeah. So like, if you want to emulate a Switch console and play Switch games on it, like I say, just go for it. I mean, you still want to play those games. You just can't afford it. And if you do want to buy a Switch, then go buy a Switch. Like it shouldn't really be an argument in the first place. Like emulation, especially for like their okay, well, like emulation of like brand new games, I guess you could make some kind of argument for. But when you're being so uppity about games from the 80s or the 90s,
Yeah, like
games
if
that
they
aren't
don't.
sold anymore or aren't available legally, then what choice are you even giving your
Yeah, like if
consumers?
companies don't give us these games, like we will gladly pay for them again for a decent price. That is, I'm not
Would
gonna
you
pay.
It took Nintendo 20 years to re-release Mario Sunshine. 20
Mhm.
years. For from 2002 up until the 3D All-Stars collection, you could not buy Super Mario Sunshine on any other
Uh,
Nintendo
Video
platform.
game preservation is really in a horrible state.
Yes. And and that was like the first time Mario Sunshine got like a remaster in its own right. Like
Hmm.
before that, you just had to rely on either having a GameCube or emulation,
Hmm.
and most of the time people stuck to emulation.
And this is especially bad with stuff like PlayStation 2 because PlayStation 2 emulation sucks ass.
Dude, PlayStation 3 emulation is such a fucking nightmare.
Heck, Sony
Why?
doesn't even bother with it.
Because like the like systems inside the PS3, look, I don't know what the fuck they did with it,
They're
but it makes
garbage.
it basically makes it like twice as harder or three times harder for developers to like make games on it or port games on it. That's why like
Oh
PS3 ports are
yeah,
usually
didn't that make it so that people just kept making stuff for the PS2 instead?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's basically why the PS2 stuck around for as long as it did because the PS3
and because it still
porting
had
is
such a
like
large player base.
yeah, that's why PS3 ports are generally glitchier compared to like Xbox 360 ports because the PS3's inner like systems was just garbage.
Yeah, and then we have cases like the Ratchet and Clank games, which are so optimized for PlayStation 2. Like they generally use the PS2 in very unique ways in its systems that you can barely. That emulating the Ratchet and Clank games is a nightmare. There's a reason why the HD remaster of PlayStation 3 is so horrible.
Yeah, it's just a fucking nightmare.
Like Ratchet and Clank 1 went by pretty well, but 2 and 3 are just Ratchet's helmet in cutscenes floats over
Dude,
his head.
dude, the same thing with the Sly Cooper games. Like I remember like Sly 3 being so fucking glitchy and broken. Because
Hmm.
like there was like a point where like you were like on this pirate ship and a boss battle ended, but the scene stayed on the pirate ship even after the cutscene ended.
Uh,
So it was just like this wide shot of the ship that you couldn't exit out of, and it kind of just like soft locked the whole game.
I'm actually thinking. This isn't too related, but I was thinking now that I have my Looney laptop, I want to try emulating GameCube again, so Neppy and I can play Coliseum.
yeah, sure.
Oh, you should. You should. I do emulate like PSP and GameCube games, and it's really fun.
Going back to the previous sentiment, I am fully on board with emulation, but I do feel like kind of when it comes to stuff like Switch emulation, I do feel finicky about it. Just because I think it's like kind of like you said, like yeah, I do understand that not everybody can afford it, but at the same time, the way that I see it is that uh, like the Switch is one of the cheaper consoles out there right now,
That's
Yeah,
true.
so it feels
it.
kind
I
of.
think it is
I
like
just I
the
just don't like
cheapest
I
of the
don't fully like
things
that
made right now.
idea of emulating it when that's a fact.
Emulating the few PlayStation 5 games that are go ahead.
Oh
Oh yeah,
yeah,
all two of them.
the PS5 is expensive and people aren't letting other people have it.
It's just after 4 years, 4 years,
Well, it's not gonna
they
be said.
still barely have.
It did worse than like what was it like? It did worse than the PSP.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like that's fucking embarrassing. How do
like I
you?
think like even the PS3 didn't have such a big start. I think.
Yeah, but the PS3 actually got better as it went on.
Yeah, the
Like
5 I
like
see no improvement.
by it came out in 2006. By
Yeah.
2009, they like rebranded everything. They redesigned the PS3. They like did everything in their power to earn back their customers' trust. And it actually did work because we're like, yeah, we fucked up big time with this. We're like, we're gonna lower the price of the console. We're gonna redesign the console for you. We're gonna make all these great games for you.
Get rid of backwards compatibility.
Okay, well, aside from that, you know, but and the 360 was pretty much the on-go console at that time. But
Honestly, the only reason the Sony did not burn and crash completely with the PS3 was the Red Ring of Death.
yeah, honestly, and Xbox kind of just got complacent with their position at number
That
one.
that's kind of the issue in the gaming industry always. They get complacent and then they crash and burn.
Yeah, because 360 was just so unbelievably successful for
Yeah,
them,
like it had
and they
to
had
Atari. back in the
They,
day.
they had so many heavy hitters back then too. Like Call of Duty and Halo back then were just like out of the water, exploding in popularity. And Xbox kind of just let the ball drop and let Sony get back in first place for a little bit. Because, Nintendo at that time wasn't doing too hot with the fucking Wii U. So that's
Yeah.
why PlayStation kind of got back in the lead until the
Yeah,
Switch
like
came
the
in the
whole
picture.
Wii U, late 3DS era of Nintendo was a mess. Like at times it felt like Nintendo generally just didn't want to earn money.
Yeah, but and then the Switch came along and just like
Yeah, like
and
Scott Ross literally calls the Wii U era the dark age of Nintendo because there was some stuff there.
Well, it was the Wii U, and then the combination of the 3DS wasn't super popular. And then on top of all
Yeah.
that, the games weren't all that great for the most part.
I mean there
Uh,
were there were some good games. They just weren't selling well because it was on the fucking Wii U.
and they just didn't. The Wii U just didn't have anything that was really worth buying it for. It
Yeah.
didn't have any killer IPs. Like what? It didn't have a 3D Mario.
Yeah,
It
I never really thought about how weird it was that it didn't have like a mainline 3D Mario game.
yeah. Instead, we got another New Super Mario Bros. Game.
It didn't even have like a mainline Zelda game either.
Well, technically Breath of the Wild.
No, did I
Yeah,
break it?
but
Damn it.
look, let's be real. People only buy Breath of the Wild on the Switch, so it
Yeah,
may as well
I
be
don't know
the game.
anyone that played it on Wii U.
But yeah, like the Nintendo floundering and Xbox floundering is why Sony managed to get their lead back for like 5 years. And then
But
the
now
Switch
Nintendo.
came about.
Yeah, now the issue is Nintendo has learned their lesson and they're not floundering. So far, at least. We see how the Switch 2 is. For all we know, they get arrogant again, and the Switch 2 will be terrible. And I
Well,
don't think it will.
kind of like the repeating pattern at this point. Like Nintendo makes a failure, then Nintendo makes a commercial hit, then Nintendo makes another failure,
To be fair, the
another
Wii U was
commercial
the
hit.
only one of these failures that I generally consider bad. Like
Yeah,
the
well,
GameCube is a great console.
uh, I will always defend the GameCube. I don't
Same.
care that it failed. It had so many fucking great games.
I love
I
the
do
GameCube
think the
menu.
game library is what saved that console.
Yeah, though I think it only sold like what 15 million. Even like the new boy Xbox at the time sold more than the GameCube did.
Which is honestly a shame, but to be fair,
That was before my time. My first consoles were the Wii and the DS.
I grew up with the PS2. That was the only thing that was for me.
It was the GameCube for me.
I had the PS.
I
I got the P. I inherited my PS2 from my dad, so I played that as a kid, but I didn't like play it a lot. A lot to the like. I only have couple games, and I did play those games quite a bit as a kid,
when you,
but
I
not
mean, you
enough
have
that I
seen
could
my
say
PlayStation 2
I'm
collection.
a. I would not enough that I would say I'm like a PS2 kid.
Dude,
I'm definitely one.
I miss being a kid and just turning on your PS2 and playing whatever game you wanted.
Getting
And
home
just
Like
from
hearing
getting
that,
home from school for the weekend, not having to worry about homework, just being able to play
like I
video
re-
games all weekend.
I
I was only allowed to
remember
play on weekends.
like playing like this golf game on the PS2. It was like EA Sports in the game. It's like
Challenges, challenges, everything.
I just miss that like feeling of just like turning on the console, putting the game in, booting it up, doing whatever you want.
Hearing
It's
the
just
menu
like
music. I can't believe that I feel nostalgic for a bloody menu music for a console.
it feels like that kind of gaming just died out in the
I mean,
2010s.
just think about how many people find the Wii like will just unironically listen to the Wii Shop music.
Yeah, like I'm the same with. I love the sounds of the PlayStation and PlayStation 2. The boot up sound when the PlayStation logo comes in. Oh, I love it. And the lost art of video game manuals. Like
Um,
just
I
the
never owned
lost
video
art,
game manuals.
or just lost art of video game case design.
It's
Like
weird.
you
remember
miss
when
It's so weird, Neppy. It's so weird how there's only a couple years between us, but Just the way you talk about video games makes you feel so much older.
The
Don't
PS1,
say that out loud!
the PS1 had like their cover like arts were doubled as like manuals.
Yeah, but the back you had a good bit of information about the game.
Yeah, and I remember playing like Battle for Bikini Bottom. I remember reading through the manuals of that game and seeing like all the games that were on there. Like there was like a Fairly Odd Parents game that was like in the manual, like a
That was the
Rugrats
first time I
game.
learned about
Oh,
tech.
this is the music one. Okay.
Oh, Jack and the Power of Choo Choo. Jesus Christ, I
No, yeah,
forgot
tech.
that series existed.
Never played any of these games, but I heard the first one is pretty good.
Also, I remember going into like the menus of Battle for Bikini Bottom and watching the trailers on that game, and just like it's so weirdly nostalgic because I remember just wasting hours being in that game and being like lost in like not only just that game but like the little like quirks and trailers and other stuff it had in it because it's just like it was a different time back then. It was
hmm
you
Back then
don't
when
see that
triple
anymore.
back then when AAA wasn't the only thing. Like nowadays all you have is AAA and indie. No in betweens anymore.
It was
Like
God,
back
That's
then we had
true, isn't
all
it?
these yeah, like back then we had all these smaller game studios like we had Tide, Tasmanian Tabor, Vex, Gex, all these smaller studios that had their own games that were oftentimes hidden gems.
yeah, and
And
you don't
now
get that anymore.
yeah, because most of the smaller studios can't afford big time development anymore, and then bigger studios buy them and let them rot.
What's the point in buying if you're not gonna use it?
Yeah, I to this day I don't get why did Microsoft buy Ware. Like they didn't use it. They didn't do anything with it. No, the worst is big companies buy smaller studios, then put impossible demands on those studios. They inevitably fail, and after just one failure, they close the studios because clearly, this was a failure. It's because these days the gaming industry is mostly led by old people who have no idea about the actual medium. They only see money. They only see numbers.
That's why like the AAA gaming studio is gonna like rumble one way or another. Like I don't think
Yeah,
it's
like
gonna fully shut down, but like there's gonna be a lot of cuts
I think
because
I
we are definitely approaching a time where games are going to be too big games are growing too expensive to be
like
continue to be made.
yeah, like
So
I
something
generally
is going to
believe that
happen soon.
yeah, like
I want to put something in perspective here. Black Myth Sun Wukong. That game only cost $60 million to make. That
Mm.
game looks fucking amazing.
yeah, like you
Only
can't you don't
$60 million. Compare that to Concord, $300 million.
it got shut down after 2 weeks.
The Madden games, 200, 300 million. Like where is all this money going to for this shit to cost so much?
The graphics, purely the graphics.
I don't even think that's true. They look fucking atrocious.
Or games just take too long. Like how long did Final Fantasy 16 take?
These days it takes like 5 or 10 years
Or the
to make
Final
one.
Like
Fantasy VII remake. I feel like that thing's been going on for years.
yeah,
Well,
like think
the funny thing,
back in the
like
day. Go on.
I, like we really have an issue of just talking over each other.
Yeah, it's because of the delay.
It's the Final Fantasy VII remake was first revealed in like 2015,
I
and
still
God.
went to school back then.
and it officially came out in 2020.
Same with Kingdom Hearts, wasn't that announced around the same time? Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts
Well,
3 was announced in 2006. It came out in 2019.
oh,
Yeah,
and it's garbage.
yeah,
Like it's baffling. The game is half as long as Kingdom Hearts 2, I think.
it is. Like it's half as long. Like
Kingdom Hearts 1 is longer.
eh,
The handheld games are longer.
eh.
If you are good, you can beat Kingdom Hearts 3 in a good afternoon.
How do you take 15 years to make a game and it's still rushed?
Yeah, and the story is a complete mess.
That's like the same thing with like Spider-Man 2, the game.
Compare that to Scott making FNAF 1, 2, 3, and 4 in like the span of 2 years.
It wasn't even that. It was like under 1 year.
Yeah, to be fair, those games require a lot less effort. Like
Yeah.
FNAF 1 literally was just a bunch of static screens with no
And
animations whatsoever. The only thing that it was moving was the bloody fan.
I want to. I gotta know now.
what's up?
Where's this? Where is this? First two games were in 2014, and the 3 and 4 were in 2015.
Yeah,
So
that
like,
tracks.
so yeah, span of
And
2 years.
yeah, yeah, the games didn't require as much work before they came out so quick. And
Well,
then there was Security Breach.
I think by the time FNAF 1 had like its first anniversary, 4 was already out.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's
then
just how quickly those games came out.
Security Breach just was a complete development nightmare.
We don't talk about Security Breach.
Like, didn't they scrap the entire original game and then had to completely rebuild it in 1 year?
There's still shit in that game that was scrapped because
Yeah, it's massive shit.
there's like I remember this specifically. There was like doors that require you to be a certain level of like you need like level 10 security access to get through this door, and it's actually impossible to get level 10 security access in the
Yeah, the
actual game.
problem is so much got scrapped that the original story is there's barely any story. There's a beginning and an end, but there's absolutely no middle section. Most of
Uh
Gregory's and uh, the lines were cut. Like originally, it was apparently supposed to be implied that there was even with Freddy, even Glamour Freddy, was implied to have something wrong with him because he had originally moments where he is not as nice anymore, and then he gets shattered, and then he becomes full on evil.
Security breaches what happens like this franchise has already been like built to death and back. Like this is what happens when Scott has like one good idea and only that idea.
Let's
And
be honest, FNAF became so big because of the fear rising.
it just like Scott just ran with it. He clearly did not have a plan for any of this shit.
No, he didn't.
He just wrote it as he went along, and everyone
Yeah,
ate it up for a while.
yeah. Like I'm convinced. Originally, the Quiet Child was the puppet. Michael was the murderer, and he just changed things as they came. Especially the book trilogy changed also things. God, these books are so bad. Like from what I heard, the first book is okay, but the second and third book are just hot garbage.
Sometimes mysteries are best left as just mysteries. Not everything needs an explanation.
One thing that I like about FNAF is because nothing is confirmed, you can basically just write your own story out of it, and you would not
Yeah,
do anything wrong.
that's what made the first FNAF so good. It's like it's just the mystery of this
Yeah,
place.
like that's basically what I am doing. I listen to other theories, I acknowledge them, but I have my own headcanon, and I'm gonna stick to that.
Yeah, like generally, the moment they gave Purple Guy a name and a backstory, it's just like, did we really need
Which,
this?
funnily enough, they did that in the books before the games.
Yeah, like the name William Afton came from the books, and they didn't even really give him a backstory. Like we still have no idea why he is killing people. The best explanation we have is MadPat's assumption that Charlie was a drunken murder. Like after Dave died, he got drunk, went to give Henry a piece of his mind, found Charlie locked outside and killed her in a drunken rush, and that is what made him go full on psychotic mass
It's
murderer. That's
just
the best
not.
we have.
It's just the explanations themselves are just garbage. Like
And then we have
after a
massive.
while, Scott just kind of lost the plot.
I'm pretty sure they have no idea what the plot even is. Like they completely retconned Burn Trap for the Mimic, and I fucking hate the Mimic.
Springtrap was such a cool idea at
He looked
first.
so terrifying. Like the lighting of the third game makes Springtrap look
Like
generally terrifying.
this zombie animatronic that's just out for your ass is
Until
so
you
cool.
start looking at his corpse underneath that suit.
That's kind of what I mean by like it's a literal zombie because
Yeah,
there ain't nothing power in him. That's just a ghost.
Yeah, he has ankle guts.
Okay, I misheard that as anger arms for a second.
No, 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 that's not what I
I'm
meant.
a jerk and everybody loves me.
No, no, I meant he has somehow guts spewed around his ankles,
Yeah.
and then he
Well,
became Scrap Trap.
well, having an entire suit crush you from the inside out generally tends to hurt.
Yeah, but I know Scrap Trap acknowledged he is very bad at modeling humans, but why does Scrap Trap's skull have ears? Human skulls don't have ears. Why does he have lungs made out of bone?
Shut up, that's why.
Should, could Scott seriously not just open an anatomy book to see how this is supposed to look? Like, it wouldn't even be that difficult. At this point, Springtrap would only be nothing but bones. Just give him some bones. Just put in some bones in there and nothing more. He doesn't even need bones. You can easily just make the arguments that they have been crushed,
People
that there
tend
are
to
no bones
forget
left.
people tend to forget that the animatronics in the first game actually had like dead kids in them.
Yeah, like, it's pretty originally this was supposed to be the pizzeria where the children were killed, and the animatronics never had that had probably the children still in them. Even if I have no idea how the bloody heck Foxy had a child in him and no one noticed. But let's not think about too much about him, because if you start thinking about it, you actually realize there is no way there's a dead child in there and the animatronic still functions.
I mean, he is shut down. Like he's out of commission in the actual game.
Yeah, but you can see on his model that there's definitely no dead child underneath that suit, so
Mm,
like, honestly, I assume that the management found the children eventually and just hit them, like they threw them in the garbage or something like that, and just never
well,
acknowledged it.
yeah, that's why they have like those rules. Like any blood found on the carpets will be cleaned and bleached, and a
Yeah,
missing report will be filed within 90 days. Like,
blah 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 blah. Now I know that sounds bad.
but trust me, it gets worse.
That, yeah, he definitely didn't have things thought out. Like, maybe he had, but I'm pretty sure even by FNAF 4 he hadn't thought things out, even if it was supposed to be the final chapter.
Eh, if
Then
only.
came Sister Location. Like, yeah, I'm convinced Michael was originally supposed to be Purple Guy.
Purple guy wasn't even a thing until the second game.
Yeah, like, we just, like, originally Purple Guy was convicted. Like, the news reports say that the subject was arrested and convicted.
Oh, imagine if Scott actually paid attention to his own lore.
Yeah, and then there are
No,
other.
I thought they said that he was arrested but not convicted.
No, he originally it did say it was convicted, but it was later retconned that he was let go because the bodies weren't found.
Oh, okay.
That's I think that's a retcon. Like, the thing is, Scott is not a storyteller, and you can tell. Like, the
No.
rogue indie developer. The moment that was mentioned, it completely everything into chaos, because now we cannot be sure if anything is actually accurate. And you know what I think would help? If instead of going all that mystery, if Scott would fucking confirm some things. Yes, confirm exactly some, like, not everything, but at least the basics. They should at least confirm the basic theory so that we have at least a solid foundation. As far as we know, at any moment it could be revealed that no, Springtrap is not William Afton. Actually, there are two Springtraps. And that's why they look different. For all we know, that could be revealed, and
I mean,
it
Well,
will.
to be
that's like
fair, he
that's
literally did that already with the whole. There's actually two purple guys.
well, it's just like
Yeah, basically, that's why I think I'm convinced Michael originally was
it, it,
William.
it was the same thing with Hello Neighbor. Like
Oh,
they
that
had
whole
like
mess.
They buckle under the weight of their own lore.
Yeah, like, the
they
basic idea of Fellow Neighbor, the basic gameplay is actually really cool.
but it's just they had this cool mystery and then they didn't have anything else but that mystery. So
Hmm.
they kept making things vague and just like building up to what the mystery was. And for Hello Neighbor, it was like this guy's basement or whatever. And then it just turns out, oh, the basement is just as weird as he is. oh no, and like it's just like, yeah,
And then there are other things in FNAF that aren't thought through, like for example, in other retcons, like we see Charlie's death in FNAF 2, but the mini game is called Save Him, but Charlie is a girl. So were there two people that William killed outside of Fredbear's Family Diner?
That's why the general rule when it comes to theory crafting for FNAF is if you have two conflicting pieces of evidence, you go with the one that's more recent.
Yeah, like Scott can claim as much as he wants. He only retcon two things. There are clearly a lot more things retconned. And then
ugh.
there is the whole mess that is the bite of 87.
Was that the point of 87?
Like, we have no idea who did it, we never meet the guy again, and apparently there are now two bites, but the bite of 83 is never mentioned. Granted, if the theory is true that shortly afterwards Charlie died and Fredbear is closed, but then we have the issue that the VR games imply that Charlie died last.
Uh,
Although, good, that one I actually can explain. Charlie died last, but she was the first to possess an animatronic. That's my explanation.
look,
Like,
this
we don't
like
know how far apart the murders are. For all
this
we
is
know, when William killed Charlie, he could have literally just killed the last of the missing children 5 minutes ago, saw Charlie and figured, why not, she's here. Stabbed her or snapped her neck, whatever he did, and then Charlie became the puppet.
this
Like,
shit is exactly why I fucking hate all the lore that goes into Five Nights at Freddy's because I don't care. It's not interesting. It's not well told. It's just shit that Scott thought of when he was taking a shit or something because he couldn't figure out how to keep the story going. And like, I just hate it. I hate it. I don't like the lore. The lore sucks.
I like it.
I
I like it too, but more because I like to do my own thing with it.
like it's fine if you have a plan and you want to expand your universe. But Scott, his plan may as well have been written on fucking toilet paper that he found somewhere. Because it's just so mismanaged and so poorly thought out and so convoluted. It,
Like, if we would only take FNAF 1, 2, and 3, we would actually have a somewhat decent story.
yeah.
And the problem is also this franchise clings too much to William. They
If he
should have
could
just
just let
gotten
him
rid.
go, it's like so many
Yeah,
people say the ending of FNAF 6 was perfect.
well, depends on who you ask. But yeah, I don't like that it was again a fire. I kind of wish they had killed him otherwise. And there is never a
Well, they did.
confrontation
They do
between him.
establish that fire is the only way to destroy Remnant,
Yeah, but
so it
my
makes
biggest
sense.
issue with FNAF 6 is what they give to poor baby.
I don't care.
Let me nerd out. The thing I like the most is actually just coming up with my own personalities for the animatronics. Like the way I had to pick Bonnie. Like Bonnie around children acts all fun and games, but when he's alone, he's actually just a snarky bastard that is so done with everyone's shit.
Look, if I had to subscribe to anything, there is like a series of like fan animations of FNAF. I don't remember who made them,
The interview?
but it's not that. It's like
Oh.
they make the animatronics look more like how they would have looked in like the 70s. Like they're visibly different, but they're still like, the main four. And the videos actually like take it into a mainly horror because that's what the series started out was. It was a horror game. Because it legitimately lost that identity as it got more popular and more like
Yeah, the thing is, the
corporate.
reason they were so scary originally is because it was a familiar setting, a simple pizzeria, but the atmosphere made it creepy.
And these videos like really just turn into like the horror of like what happened here, because there's one video in particular that's like showing like a video of like Foxy like doing his like gig with the other three,
Yeah, like we
and
don't
like
even know what his
Oops.
routine is. We never see it.
as the video gets on, like first the like happy campy pirate music cuts out, and then the next section plays, and there's a dead kid inside Bonnie.
Oh,
And
I
then
know
it cuts
exactly
again,
what you're talking about. I love that series so much.
and then it cuts again, and there's a dead kid inside was it Freddy or was it Chica? And like it goes on until all
Freddy,
of
I
the
think Freddy
animat
was last in that. Other than Foxy, I think Freddy was last in that one.
Chica has
yeah,
to be first because she has seen everything.
No, but this was before that was revealed.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
then it's
yeah,
okay.
these videos are a little old.
Yeah,
So like yeah, it's like just a really creepy but
they're
also
they're genuinely creepy videos. I love them so
So,
much.
so not gonna watch them. Got it.
you're missing out, man.
You really
I'm a
are.
coward. I cannot.
Because it really just highlights what initially attracted me to Five Nights at Freddy's was like the horror and the mystery. It's like, yeah, these kids were just fucking murdered, and this series goes back to that, and it just like highlights how fucked up it is.
Especially if you start to wonder how they were murdered. Like, if Cassidy is in Golden Freddy, she was probably murdered by a spring lock failure, and that's brutal.
Like there's like a moment in that video where like Chica's talking, and the video glitches out, and her singing is like mixed in with a child crying. And that is like so fucked up but so genius at the same time.
It's
Especially
also
because
like
in the
is
original
there's
game.
also like she talks about like a dying, or maybe this was a different one that talked about like a dying bird. Or was that one, or
Hmm.
was it a different one?
I don't remember specifically. There's also this other creator, Meme Bear. Yes, that's his name, Meme Bear. He made some FNAF horror like videos too. He did like a horror video with like Withered Chica in FNAF 2, where she kind of just like creepily looks up at the camera while she's covered in blood.
Uh,
There's also one he did of like the four animatronics being tortured by the puppet while a children's lullaby is playing.
oh, great, make the puppet evil. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, it's like legitimately, it's like guts are hanging out of their mouths. They're covered in blood. Like it's just, uh,
Yeah, that's
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 nice.
not for me. Not for me.
Yeah.
Damn.
There's also that
Speaking of the puppet, I think the puppet is the creepiest of all the animatronics.
what was the name of him? It was like Scrimpus McDimpus or whatever the fuck his name
Yep,
was.
I have no idea.
something like
That
that.
that made that made all of those like VHS FNAF videos. He did like one where Freddy, like he's giving you an instruction manual on how to like undress Freddy, and at towards the end he like take off the main torso, and there's like a censored out black bar of his bloody insides of where the child was stuffed in, and he's like climb
Uh,
inside and accept your death.
Or I think it's implied that the body is still there
Yeah,
because
that's
like
like
you have the black box and then you can see stains on the top and the bottom.
yeah. There's no like jump scares in the video. It just abruptly cuts when that moment happens.
Yeah, it's good horror.
Yeah, good horror.
See.
yeah, I'm not in for the horror. Like, I'm already creeped out by the puppet alone. That smile. Funnily enough, the nightmare animatronics are the one I'm about with the least scared of. Because
Once in FNAF 4.
yeah, I think they're just over designed. They look
Yeah,
more
definitely
cruel
over
and
designed.
threat.
I think
Yeah,
Yeah, they look more.
over. Yeah, they're really
I
like
think
this.
Nightmare and Nightmares jump scares are good.
Yeah, Nightmare has the advantage that in the dark you can't see him at all, so you just see a shadowy
Like
silhouette.
the original concept of FNAF was scary because it's children's animatronics, just
Hmm.
coming to life and chasing after you.
And
Like
those
that
things are
alone.
already kind of scary naturally.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that concept alone, these like old 70s animatronics coming to life and chasing after your ass is
Even
already scary. You
even if I
don't
have to
need
admit,
to over design them and make them
yeah,
scary.
like okay, they're nightmares, so I understand making them a bit more scary looking, but I think the giant claws and teeth are too much.
The claws and then like 40 rows of fucking teeth.
Yeah. And then we have not, and then you know what I, and then he didn't go all in with it too, because I think Nightmare Foxy looks honestly kind of boring. Like, couldn't he at least make the hook a full-on sickle instead of leaving it this tiny little hook? It doesn't fit at all.
They they kind of tapped into that with like the withered like animatronics.
Yeah,
Like
those
the
I think are with a, especially with a chica.
yeah, those look actually creepy.
Yeah, like the thing is, damaged animatronics can look really scary. Like a shattered chica in FNAF Ruin, I think looks generally scary. With her head pretty much completely gone, the trash bag sticking out of her stomach, the goo around her head.
I
That
will
one
say
looks scary.
FNAF 2 um had like there's like a moment where you can see like a shadow Freddy in like the room where the old animatronics are.
Yeah,
And there's also like Shadow Bonnie,
yeah, we
which
have no idea what those things are. Honestly, I think Scott
where
knows if
like
they exist.
Markiplier actually encountered Shadow Bonnie on like his FNAF 2 live stream. And it's like a 1% up a 1% up a 1% and he fucking got it.
Hmm. I should watch Markiplier's playthroughs of the games.
That was how I experienced FNAF. Was I watched all of his
Yeah.
playthroughs.
He also like encountered like Golden Freddy. I still love his reaction to it.
Was that a part of 87? Never brought up, never resolved to even date a bite. I think it's Toy Chica or Mangle.
I you want to know the funniest part? I remember when Mark first like uploaded his first part of FNAF 2, and I remember it very distinctly because I was at a fucking Chuck E. Cheese at my little sister's like fourth birthday party or fifth birthday party.
I never was at a Chuck E. Cheese. Like, how is it?
Um, I was there a few times when I was a kid. I had a few birthdays there. It's fine. Like these days, it's mainly just like a shitty arcade.
Especially because they want to get rid of the animatronics.
Yeah, but back then when they had like the animatronics and they had like the play area, kid me, I thought it was good. Like I
You know what's funny?
what's up?
If they see you mentioning FNAF at all, the Chuck E. Cheese Twitter will immediately ban you or block you.
I remember being a kid and seeing this there was someone dressed like Chuck E. Cheese. And
Yeah, yeah, I've seen these costumes in some old clips. Oh god, those things are creepy.
I remember just tormenting that guy.
Oh, come on, no.
Like I was just such a piece of shit to him. Like I pulled on his tail. I tried shoving him. I threw like plates and balloons at him. And the worst part is he didn't even know it was me until like the very end where like he like I remember this so distinctly. He realized that I was the one who was tormenting him. He pointed at me. He's like, "It was you." And then he just put his head in his hands like he was crying. Like I
That
remember
kind
that.
of sounds like an act.
Yeah, but I just remember that so distinctly. Like that was such a man, I was an asshole as a kid.
Oh, I just had a very morbid thought.
What?
If you had existed in the FNAF universe, that would probably have been a guy in a springlock suit.
Probably.
And you know what then would have happened.
I probably would have killed that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily. He could have survived. William apparently survived one before.
I can never remember how many hearts I usually have for this fight. Hello. So, internet went out. So I can't stream to my friends at the moment. So this is a good time to stop right before the boss fight. So, we'll be starting the, we will be starting with the boss fight next time. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Uh, dis, Despite the really abrupt ending. But I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.